in talking about the different types of Nautilus machines, and really what they were trying to do with that was, again, getting back to just trying to make it so that each machine was a safe and effective way to exercise for different populations. What they were trying to do is effectively take it where you're isolating a particular muscle group each time. And in looking to do that, most people who come in aren't going to be familiar with the different exercises right when they get to it, like a squat position, a lunge position. Sometimes knees, backs, hips become issues when they're doing that. So what he was trying to do was develop different machines that he could put in and isolate a particular group while giving someone back support, taking their weight off, and being able to fully isolate and exhaust that particular group. In doing so, it basically came up with what's now commonly referred to as circuit training. And what that was, with circuit training, was trying to do almost what they, actually what they look at doing is pre-exhausting each muscle group as they go through. And pre-exhaustion is where you would take a single joint movement and you go through a range of motion with that. And what I mean by that is, for instance, with your knee, you get this motion here where you're doing a leg extension. And that way what we're doing is basically isolating the quadricep to try to get it to failure. So you would take someone through the repetitions on that, and then you would go to what they call a compound movement, where you're bringing the hip in, you're getting the glutes involved, the hamstring involved, and taking it to full exhaustion with that. So when they developed the circuits, what he was looking at was, how do I make this effective and time efficient for people to go through, and how do we fully exhaust a muscle group in going through? And one of the things that was different in that, and what became controversial was with Nautilus, it's like any other training tools. Is the tool effective or more efficient than another tool? And with Nautilus, you find, like I said before, the strength curve, you're getting the variable resistance, and so it's a more efficient tool than, say, a barbell is. But what we find is you can use it either way. You could use it in a circuit type of model when you go through, or you could use it as a set training tool. What Arthur Jones looked at, though, was muscular failure. And one of the things you see when you read books and go back through some of the old Nautilus history is that they tried to develop the most effective and efficient way to train the body. And what they found was that the body needed as much recovery time as it did actual exertion time on it. That the more efficient you became, the harder you worked, the more time you needed for recovery, and the higher intensity you needed to work each time. But they wanted to do that in a safe and effective way. So these machines, by giving you support, isolating each muscle group, actually did that, and that's where they came up with the circuits. Was they found that if you did one muscle group over and over and over and over, that you were really getting a diminishing return on every set that you did. And by doing that, really you're getting 80% of your gain in that first exercise. And so what he did with pre-exhaustion was found your 80% of that is done on that leg extension. And then when you come back and do that leg press, you're drawing other muscle groups in to get that other 20% of exhaustion. Once you hit exhaustion, really what they have found is at that point your body starts to recover. 30 to 90 seconds later, you're starting to get into a recovery phase. But that if at this point, if you have exhausted yourself of all your ATP stores in the muscle group and so forth, it's really time for it to recover. Breaking it down effectively didn't give any more results, is what he was finding. And that's what was controversial back in the day, is that it wasn't necessarily that the Nautilus itself as a training tool was really up to debate whether or not it did a great job of actually going through and exhausting the muscle group. What was really controversial and different about Nautilus at the time was the fact that they were trying to come out with a mode to go through to train that was the most efficient. And what they found was that you really needed to do, and you hear express workouts, circuit workouts, and so forth, that is once you hit full exhaustion on a muscle group and you train at a very high intensity, the best thing you could do was allow yourself to recover and then move to the next muscle group, do the full body, and then go from there.